and welcome to Jagan Armory. It's been a long time since my last video, and thank you so much for your patience, especially the few subscribers I have. Again, thank you for sticking around, and I promise I will be around a bit more often. I thought I'd get started by doing a field strip or basic disassembly of one of my other favorite firearms, and this is going to be the Smith & Wesson 4506. Unfortunately, not in production anymore, but that series of pistols are a lot of fun. The 06 series includes the 6906, which is a 9mm, the 4006, as you can imagine, 40 S&W, and then finally a 1006, which they offered in 10mm. This, of course, the 4506 and 45 ACP, all stainless steel gun, and very heavy. It's one of the things I refer to as the closest thing to being a 1911 without actually being a 1911. So for those that have shot one before, you know exactly what I mean. For those that haven't, and you have a friend that maybe has one, I say get down on that. You'll find it's a lot of fun, and you'll really, really enjoy it. All right, so let's get down to the field strip. Again, we want to be sure that we are considered clear and safe before we handle the firearm. We'll dump the magazine, put it aside, rack the slide open. A visual inspection as always, physical. We're empty, safe, and clear. Good to go. You'll notice, by the way, that, okay, the hammer's cocked back, big deal, right? But this also utilizes what they call a magazine disconnect, which means the hammer will not fall when you pull the trigger when the magazine is out of the firearm, for example. So, just a little tidbit, as one of my instructors when I served in the Air Force said, a little bit of lagniappe, a little extra. At any rate, so we'll leave the hammer cocked back, and now we're going to grab the firearm like this with our shooting hand, in this case, my right hand. And just as you do with a Glock, you kind of rock the slide back a little bit with the one hand. You're going to do the same here. You're going to go a little further, though. We're going to want to align this notch with the slide catch. All right, so we're going to pull it back until it's right over the top. And then you'll notice this pin on the back. Use your index finger of your opposite hand and push that inward, or upward in this case, just so it comes up a little bit. Get underneath it and work it out. Now with this particular model, as the slide comes forward, the hammer will follow it and fall. So I'm going to bring this to its battery position, and then I'm going to put my thumb just behind the hammer so it doesn't slam forward and hit the frame on its own. So we're going to pull the slide off. See, there we go. We'll put the frame aside for now. Here is our guide rod and spring, which are separate. They're not captive like we've seen on other models. Barrel, we'll just pull that forward. Push it up with my pinky, pull it right out. And our slide. This does have a fixed bushing, not a removable one like we see on a 1911, for example, so it's going to stay put. And that's it. Magazine, slide catch, recoil spring, guide rod, slide, barrel, and frame. Very easy to take apart and just as easy to put back together. One thing to keep in mind, the Smith & Wesson 4506, just as the 39 series and the 59 series from Smith & Wesson, utilize what I like to refer to as a floating ejector. It'll fold down. We're going to need to push that down along with these two other levers when we're putting the slide back on to reassemble the firearm. We'll get to that in just a moment. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and slide our barrel back into position. I like to push it forward and then pull it back until it clicks in this place. There we are. Get our recoil spring and guide rod, put those together. And you'll notice on the barrel itself, that tiny little notch. I hope you can catch that on the video. Let's get close. That little notch is where the edge of the guide rod itself here is going to fit. Such a tiny bit of surface area, but enough to hold things into place. So we're going to insert this into the slide. We're going to push forward until we can find the notch with our guide rod. And come here. There you are, in position. So you've got a good alignment. Now for that tricky part we talked about earlier. Let's go ahead and put the slide on the frame. Start to push it forward now. Instead of just slamming it right into that like I just did, let's go ahead and, with your index finger, depress the ejector so that it slides over. Now we have these two we have to contend with. When I get on top of those and press them down, right like that. Now once we get into this position, I like to go ahead and cock the hammer backward so it's fixed. And I'll now move the slide backward. And as I do, you can see the barrel lug move into position, which gives me an opportunity, in other words, creating the through and through hole there for me to insert the slide catch. So insert the pin into the hole, push it almost all the way through, then align that notch like we did earlier. Push it the rest of the way. It takes a little finagling until you hear it snap. And we can let the slide come forward. Now we can rack it open. There we are. Close it, insert the slide, and pull the trigger. Good to go. Once again, rack it open, pull it down, pull the trigger. There you are. That is how you do a quick field strip, basic disassembly and reassembly of the Smith & Wesson 4506 pistol. Again, folks, really appreciate your patience for sticking around and waiting for me to put out something new. I promise more are on the way. We're going to do a few more videos of just basic takedown methods of other very popular firearms. And I'm sure we'll get into some other gobbledygook from time to time. Again, appreciate you watching. Be well, and as always, good shooting.